Okay, everything should be working correctly. Oh, give me a minute. Please do let me know if the sound is correct or if I need to up the volume in game before we start. But as I'm looking right now, it all should be well. Let me just give me a minute. Lil ZZ, thank you for the follow. 58 minutes ago. So that was off stream, so I couldn't really address that. But looks like everything is working correctly. So let's just begin. Hello everybody, my name is Kickerlin and welcome to Nitrous Racing League. Today we are doing a pre-season race in France. France is actually not that great of a track to start on, not a lot of people like it, but it is a track made out of 15 corners, 5 slow speed, 4 medium speed and 6 fast speed corners. Of course that's just my speculation as I'm driving on track and as per speed. So it's a really fast track as it has 6 fast speed corners, but that means that you cannot really overtake in the corners. So you're gonna have to depend on the straights where there are actually a lot of them. So a lot of DRS zones, we have 2 DRS zones, and yeah, if you saved your ERS well enough, you can overtake quite easily on the straights with the slipstream, and you can overtake with DRS, and you don't really have to use DRS. The track has its debut set in 2018, but it actually isn't the first track in France. The other was Magny-Cours, and that was actually a brilliant track. Like I said before, Paul Ricard is not really liked by most fans, as in real life it doesn't really provide that much action. But we do have an exception in 2021 where that was a pretty good race. But I'm not gonna spoil anything if you haven't seen that race. Now on to the drivers. We don't actually have a full grid. We do have some vacant seats, and 2 people are actually missing, but I am going to read all of them. So in the Mercedes we have Edu and Alexander. Both of them are joining us today. Then we have in the Red Bull Alexander Ozdachi and Patrick Sogard. I'm also sorry if I am pronouncing any of these names wrong. They should be with us today as well. In the Ferrari we have 2 vacant seats. You can also join the league if you want. The link should be somewhere down there. I'm not really used to Twitch, so I don't really know how this all works. Next up we have, give me a second. Then next up we have Curley and MEM in the McLaren, then Ernest and Messenger in Alpine. The both AlphaTauri seats are also vacant, so that is very unfortunate. Aston Martin is occupied by Mutant Unlimited and Sabid Bass. Williams is occupied by HD Storm and Juriadis, fellow Bosnians. I am actually a Croat, so it's a neighboring country. We actually go well together, and we also race in another league, and I cannot wait to see what they can do here. In Alfa Romeo, we have Good Roman and Zlatan, and then in the Haas we have Gods and Mars, rounding up the final few seats of the grid. So that is it from our grid. Let me just give me a second. Thank you, Regular Rust, for the follow, and Diegots10 for the follow as well. Thank you. So we are doing a 60 minutes practice session for today's preseason race, and then after that we do have a 50% race. So we are going to be here for a long time, not by my plans of course. So we are gonna see a lot of people switch into a lot of different tire compounds. We do have 3 tire compounds. If you're new to Formula 1, we actually have 5, but there are 3 dry and 2 wet compounds. The dry compounds are hards, which you see most people are on. Then we have the mediums, which are the yellow tire. Only Sabotage in the AlphaTauri has those, and we have softs, which are the fastest of the 3. So there is a bit of a balance between all 3 compounds. The hard tires are the slowest, but they are the most durable. Then the mediums are kinda equal, so they are not that fast, but they are also not that durable. So they are quite the middle ground for all the drivers, as we see that McGinty is looking quite racy with the AlphaTauri in front of him of Sabotage. So he's probably mad, as this is going to compromise his practice lap. Then we have 2 wet compounds, like I said before, the intermediates, which are the green ones, and the wet tires, which are the blue ones. Intermediates are used for rain in between 10% and I think 50% or 60. I'm not really sure about that. And then wets is above 60 and to 100%, so for heavy rain. Those are all the compounds that our drivers are going to use. Not today probably, but during the entire season we might expect to see some rain and all of the other stuff happening. In the meantime, we already have some laps. Sabotage puts the fastest lap time of a 1:33.6, but that is to be expected. He is on the fastest tire after all. Alexander is actually starting his flying lap on those softs, but he is sliding around everywhere. But he does have 60 minutes to get used to the car and how it feels. The drivers can also change the setups for the race, so they can use any setup that they want, they can change it, but after the practice session they cannot change it as per the Parc Fermé rules. Parc Fermé is mandatory in qualifying and the race. Before you start your qualifying lap, you will be asked if you're happy with your setup, and after you get out on track once, you cannot change it back for the entire qualifying session and the race. So you are going to have to be happy with what you have, or you're gonna struggle for the entire weekend. On board with Alexander Alves, going on to the third main straight. The Alfa Romeo driver of Good Roman has let him past, and that is going to be it. When I was saying that, we had a fastest lap from Patrick, 132.2 on those hards. HD Storm puts a time for second, 133.5 as well. I am also a little bit sick, so I won't be talking as much as per usual, if you know who I am. But I hope that doesn't really bother anyone. As we see, Alexander loses control of his car a little bit at the final corner, but still puts the fastest lap time of a 131.1, which is not the fastest lap time. I'm gonna say that. You can definitely prove probably around 2/10, but it is not mandatory for our drivers to push in this practice session. You can also wear your components out, which you have to use for all of your things like practice, qualifying, and race. So you will have to use one compound, and that's it, because we do not have a full season set up, so we can change the compounds. So if they are worn, you will lose car performance, and some parts can also affect ERS. So the more it is worn, the less ERS you have. But yeah, the only guys that haven't set lap time are Nem and Eduardo, but they are coming out to the final few corners right now, except Nem, he just started his final lap. Yes. I'm also sorry if there is some black screen happening. That is out of my control. I am switching back and forth to see the follows and if anyone has donated. But the black screen should only be here for like a few seconds, so it's not gonna be that much. I am going to check that like 10 to 15 minutes, every 10 to 15 minutes, and that's just gonna be it. But yeah, everyone has set their lap time. We are going on board with Nem, who nearly loses control of his car, goes a little bit wide onto the curb, going on to turn 11, I think that is. Now to turn 12. You really want to have a wide line to get a great exit into 13. Going to 14, you want to go as wide as possible to not invalidate, and he nearly went into the pit lane, which he probably did not want to do. Coming out to the final corner right now, it's a really tight hairpin, so you really have to manage it well to get a really good exit, because it is gonna be mandatory for the entire straight, and there is also DRS on that straight, so we might see some overtaking opportunities in that part of the track as well. So everyone has set their lap time. Almost everyone has set hard compounds, but we might see all of the compounds being used. I don't really know if the tires you use in practice also transfer to qualifying. I am not really sure, or if you get fresh compounds. I don't really know about that. I will need to get clarification for that. I actually wasn't expecting for it to be a practice session, a 60-minute practice session. I literally forgot about that, so I didn't really prepare that much for it. But anyways, we are for a long one. 10 minutes already have passed, and the Mercedes are looking quite well today, but also not that well, as that lap time on softs is quite a slow one. They will want to improve on that, but like I said, they do not need to push to wear their components as much as they need to. But yeah, I think I've already said everything that I was supposed to. Now, talking about strategies for the race, practice is also a really good session to test how much wear you use on the tires and how much fuel you use, which is very, very important. If you're new to Formula 1, you cannot refuel in the race, so you need to set a predicted fuel onto your car, and then you need to fuel save or just push as much as possible to waste that fuel that you put in into the car. In previous years, you could switch modes. You could switch engine modes to reduce the fuel usage or to maximize fuel usage and use it as much as possible. But in 2020, the rules have been changed, so that is not really possible. I have also mentioned ERS. ERS is the battery charge, which you see at the bottom left, middle of the screen at the bottom left. So that is the battery usage. So that gives you around 20. I think it's 20. It might be more, might be less, or it's probably more. It gives you around 20 horsepower more than usual if you use it, but you cannot use it for the entire lap. Because it is restricted to do that. If you use it for the entire lap, you will not be able to use it for the rest of the lap. So you can use it, I think, 70% of the time, and then 30% of the time you are not going to be able to use any of it. ERS usage is automatic, so you only have the option of using overtake mode. Overtake mode uses a lot of energy, but also gives you a lot more power than the automatic ERS usage. So the drivers will need to be careful with their ERS because you do not gain as much in the corners. I think I didn't mention, but when you brake, the kinetic energy gets transferred into the battery charge. So that's how you get ERS and more power. But you do not gain a lot of it, so our drivers are really gonna need to be careful. A lot of people going on mediums. We have Alexander, Patrick, Triades, and Diegos already on mediums, and Lucas McGinty is on softs. So we might see a new fastest lap of the session after Lucas ends his lap. Now everything is well. Okay. Yep. Okay. Everything is well. We are going to be on board with Lucas. Looks like he is actually slower than his previous lap time, so he probably made a mistake somewhere. His previous lap was probably set by let me just check. I think it was with hards. Yes, it was, and he is not gaining that much time with soft tires, which is interesting. We saw him pushing with his ERS, so it is very interesting that he is not really improving. He is slowing down as well, so he probably made a mistake somewhere and needed to back down on that lap, which is unfortunate, but yeah, what can you do? So I explained fuel. Now onto the tires. We already said what tire compounds there are. But speaking about strategy, like I said, this is a really good session for the drivers to see how much tire wear they use, so they can expect. So how they expect when the levels of the tires drop and when they start losing performance. So example, I think the softs wear out like 7% each lap, so they could probably last around 10 laps, which is not enough for the entire race. You will have to use another compound, either the mediums or the hards. In the race there is also a rule that you have to go into the pit lane. It is mandatory to use 2 different compounds. It can be softs or mediums, softs or hards and mediums. It can be any, but you have to use 2 different compounds. That is mandatory. If you do not do that, you will get disqualified of the session, and we see already some billboards getting destroyed of track, which hopefully hasn't damaged anyone's front wing. Going on board with HD Storm on softs as well as McGinty. I think his lap time was faster. by a few seconds. He is opening his DRS, going on to the start-finish straight, and crossing the finish line. You can see that he cannot use any of his DRS anymore. He has improved by 1.5 seconds and a lap time of 1:30.6, which is still not that bad. You can definitely improve by a lot, or maybe not by a lot, maybe by a few tenths. The track limits are very confusing in France, so you really need to be onto the limit but not push too much, because you are going to easily invalidate your lap, which is very stupid indeed. But yeah, like I was saying, you need to use two different compounds, so we will expect every driver to use different strategies, or quite a few will probably use the same strategy. I think a soft medium is easy on this track, but maybe a two-stop will be beneficial more if you know how to gain time. HD Storm looks like set a fastest purple sector 2, which is interesting, but he has 5% TRS. He is not pushing, so he's probably just on his in-lap to prepare for another lap. Let's see if any incidents have happened yet. We do have a lot of exceeded track limits, which I were talking about. Like I said, track limits are very stupid on this track, especially. So we are, so we are going to see quite a few penalties in the race. So all the drivers are gonna need to be careful with that. And Good Roman is actually Croat, so he's a fellow Croat. We are from the same country. That is very nice indeed. So I know who to root for. Of course, I root for every driver. I do not know most of them. I know quite a few of them. I race with a few, but I do not want to root for one driver. I want to see everyone succeed, and to see what they are capable of doing. Which, by the looks of it, 6 seconds apart is not really what you want to be, but it is practice, so there is still a lot of time to improve. And if they want to improve, of course. Jesus Christ, 42 minutes remaining. 18 minutes have already passed. That was actually quite fast, if I might say so myself. But this is still a long time. So, yeah, yeah. Give me a second. Okay. We are on board with Alexander. I think he is not pushing, and he actually invalidates his lap, which is quite unfortunate. We are also running with equal cars. That is actually to be expected, but if you're new to F1, you can change cars to equal or realistic. If it was realistic, the Williams of HD Storm wouldn't be at the top, definitely, because the Mercedes would be dominating. Because Mercedes in real life is way too fast to exist. Like, I think the previous year's Mercedes, the 2020 Mercedes, I think that was the fastest car ever made in Formula 1. But I'm not really sure about that, so I might be wrong, but I don't know. So Alexander is looking for another lap, but let's go on board with someone else. Driadis is gonna be an interesting one on softs, so maybe he is going to be setting a fastest lap time of the session. He needs to improve by 1.6 seconds if he does want to do that. But like I said, you do not need to worry about your tires, because I think you get a fresh new set for qualifying, which we actually do not have. So today's is going to be settled by practice and then the race instantly, so there is not gonna be a qualifying session. But after the preseason, we are going to have a 18-minute qualifying session and a 50% race. So 50% race is just half of the realistic race in real life, but it is in the game. So yeah, really easy to understand. And qualifying is only one session. In real life you have 3 sessions, Q1, Q2 and Q3. in Q3 the bottom 5 positions get dropped, so only 15 people get into Q2, and then into Q1 get the top 10, and then I don't actually know if we are using the full qualifying session, but we are probably not. But in the full qualifying session in Q2, whatever lap or whatever tire you set the fastest lap on, you are going to have to start on those tires. If you don't go to Q3. If you go to Q3, then you have to use those tires. If you are P11 or below, you can use whatever tire you want, and that's also for the people below the top 15. But yeah, besides that, let's go on board with Giates. We were already on board. He has improved by 0.5 seconds. That is not enough to put the fastest lap time of the session. Looks like HD Storm is actually dominating a little bit. But Alexander is with Hars, so if he puts the different compounds, maybe he is going to be pretty good as well. We do have a yellow sector 2. A Alpine is slowing down, probably letting the AlphaTauri of Sabitas through. But on board with the Giates, finishing out his flying lap and using all of his ERS and a 131.2. That is 6/10 slower than pole position and 1/10 slower than Alexander, who I think only set time with... Oh no, he actually did set the time on soft, so that is my mistake. I'm very sorry. So that is actually not that bad. So it is quite closer than expected, but this is still not the race. The race is gonna be most important, as we see Juliet is cutting the whole track, which I don't know if it's allowed, but probably is, because no one is close to him, so he cannot really mess anyone else's lap. I think I need to bump up the game sound. I think it's a little bit too low. Give me a second. There we go. So, let's go see who else is doing a lap. Looks like Patrick is also on softs. We are seeing quite more people on softs. But Patrick does run wide. Luckily he does not invalidate, but he will lose a bunch of time because of that mistake. And we saw him lift off previously before turn... I think that was 7, but I'm not really sure. So he is going to back down from that lap. He is probably going to save his ERS, prepare it for the next lap, and then do a fast lap attempt. But we are yet to see, and we have no way of knowing as well. Looks like Mars is on a fastest lap as well, but he is running all over the place. That is quite dangerous, as McGinty is closing in on him, because looks like Mars is not pushing that much. Maybe he wants to close the gap to McGinty, so McGinty gets some of that dirty air, so he cannot finish his lap. But I don't know. Talking about dirty air, if you're new to Formula 1, I've said that a bunch of times, dirty air is generated when you drive... Oh, Lucas McGinty glitched, I think. No, the dirty air is generated when you drive behind one car, and it's all the clean air that the driver in front of you has goes into your car, and you have none of that clean air, and you lose a bunch of time into the corners because you do not have as much downforce as the car in front of you. So it is much better to overtake them as soon as possible, because you do not want to lose a lot of time in the race being stuck behind a slower car. As we see our first spin of the session, thankfully not a retirement. CRX Mars has touched the wall. Pretty interesting place to do it at, I might add. It's pretty rare to spin at that place, but it is dangerous rejoining on track, because if ghosting was not on, the Mercedes driver of Alexander would literally just hit him, and then both the drivers would probably be out of the session, and then they would have to wait half an hour if they wanted to race again, which none of us probably want. Speaking of Alexander, he is on hards, so he wants to get that data for the race to see how much they wear and if they are going to be at all fast in the race and capable, of course, in the race. Safety car is, I think, on reduced, but I am not really sure about that. Let me actually check the settings. I think we can see them here. Yes, we do. Safety car is actually off, so that is very interesting. And corner cutting is on strict. Weather is clear. That's actually to be expected because this is only a preseason race. We do not want to have any complications with this. And then you can see here that we do not have any qualifying, and we do actually have starting grid to realistic. So the Mercedes is actually going to be starting in pole position. So that means Alexander and Eduardo are going to be our drivers on the front row, and then Diego's and Patrick are going to follow them right behind in the second row. See, I didn't know that, so that is actually really good that I've been checking that out. Let's see here. Okay. Let's see the race director, if we have any more exceeding track limits, and we have a bunch of them. A lot of invalidated lap times. Let's hope that these drivers do not get as much penalties as they have track limits in this practice session. But only time will tell when we head into the race. I think Drietes actually set a lap on softs, which I missed, but I literally forgot. Or it was McGinty, I think. 131.009 puts him in second place. Pretty good, but still 4 tenths slower than HD Storm, who is still leading and heading out of the pit lane. He only set, I think, a few laps, like he didn't do much. He did 5 laps. And then some people put 12 laps already. So you can see who needs practice and who doesn't really care about practice, because they are already experienced enough to be prepared for the race. Good evening, BCRE Sports. How are you? Are you doing well? We are currently in the middle of a practice session. We have half an hour remaining, so still quite a lot. But I am going to try and make it as exciting as I possibly can. But this is actually the time where you need a second commentator to really talk about a lot of stuff, which I wasn't really aware of, that we were doing a 60-minute practice session. Because that is quite unusual in league races, but it's not a bad thing, of course. It's not, but I don't think that it's good for the drivers, as it is quite late. It is quite late, so probably some of these drivers are gonna be very tired, and they're gonna have to drive for 2 hours probably, because the race is gonna be 40 odd minutes, I think. The main race is going to be in half an hour when the practice session is complete. So we do have a lot of time remaining until that. We are on board with HD Storm currently. He put fresh softs on this car and is using some of his ERS, so this is probably going to be a qualifying lap. Let's go on board with him to see him. Hi Dan, how are you? So yeah, currently at the on board with HD Storm, like I said, he is using a lot of his ERS, so he wants to put a new fastest lap, even better than his previous one. Let's see how he takes every corner. He takes that pretty cautiously. You can really take it on the inside a little bit more, but it does unsettle the car a bit. So you really have to be careful with the throttle to not spin. Purple sector 2. I am doing well as well. Thank you for asking. But I do still have half an hour of commentating and then the race, which is gonna be interesting. I haven't done that. I haven't commentated for 2 hours yet, so it is quite a pleasure of doing this, and thank you for having me as well. Let's see, HD Storm on the start-finish straight improves by 4 tenths, a 130.229. So 8 tenths faster than McGinty just behind him in the McLaren. So that is quite fast. But it is close as well. Not as close as we wanted to have, but separated by 1 second is not that bad. But you can see the pace difference between a lot of the drivers happening right now. So the race might not be as interesting, but maybe this is just a fluke and they are not living their full potential, as HD Storm is actually using even more of his ERS, so he wants to improve even more than his previous lap time. Oh, no. The pleasure is all mine. Really. I am really glad that you have me here. I didn't really check if he improved. This is gonna take a second. He didn't. He was slower by almost a second. So even though he used all of his ERS, he is going to have to back down for that qualifying lap, and he is going into the pit lane. So that was expected. We are actually seeing a lot of people out on track, so people want to practice, except for HD Storm. That was only his 7th lap, while everyone else did like 20 laps already. But yeah, a lot of people going on softs, so let's see all of their pace. Looks like they do have quite a big gap between each other, and that is good. We do not want anyone to be distracted by the dirty air of another driver, to be compromised. Let's go on board with the Alfa Romeo driver of NEM, who is on a 5-lap-old mediums. Finishing his lap, he actually improved by 8 tenths, so that is not bad indeed with these old tires. But he nearly spins, but manages to catch it. Really impressive indeed. Can you show Patrick? Yes, he is actually starting his flying lap, so we can actually go on board with him. But let me just check something. Thank you, Tennedy0R, for the follow. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. And let's see what Patrick can do. If he wants to be any close to the podium places, he needs to improve by 7 tenths. Let's see how much he improves in each sector. Finishing sector 1 right now. Didn't really improve. It was pretty much equal, like his previous lap time. He is also not using any of his ERS like HD Storm did, so he is not using overtake mode. So it is probably going to be an improvement, not by a lot. He is catching the Haas driver of Mars just ahead of him. Let's hope that he doesn't compromise. Maybe he can get a little bit of slipstream, but let's hope that Mars can let him through, as he puts a purple sector 2, improving by only 1 tenth. That is not a fastest lap time. Patrick goes a little bit wide, so that is not gonna gain him a lot of time. He is in the dirty area of Mars and nearly collides with them, so that was not really good from Mars. Not a good place to give the place. That is very unfortunate indeed. But maybe Patrick has the tires to do another lap. Maybe. We are going to have to see. He is using some of his ERS, so he is probably doing another lap. Ernest actually set a new lap time, a 131.084. Only 75 thousandths of a second slower than McGinty in P2. So that is not bad indeed. So the gap between P1 and P2 is quite big, but at least from P2 to P6 it is quite close indeed. So we might actually see a really good battle for the podium positions. And Mars again, really bad position to let a driver through, as we see that Ernest needed to back out of that lap as he was going pretty fast. They will need to move away, as a lot of people are actually doing a lap, which is unexpected. We have a Williams, Haas, Aston Martin, and another Williams as well on a out lap. That is HD Storm on mediums. They are fresh. Ernest moving away, but I think that Deidris doesn't have any fuel, as he is coasting everywhere. Let's hope that he moves away from Ernest just behind him to not compromise his lap. And then I think that we can go on board with HD Storm after he does his lap, as we see that actually our Aston Martin driver, Mutant Unlimited, is actually being controlled by the AI. Which is not good for HD Storm, as he is right behind him and he is about to start his lap. So if he cannot catch him and overtake him as quickly as possible, he will be held up by him. As HD Storm somehow improves by 4/10, and as we see here, Mutant Unlimited has held him up a little bit, but thankfully he has taken control of his car and let him through as soon as possible. So I think let's just be on board with HD Storm to see how much time you actually lose. So a second already lost in Sector 1. That was probably, I think 3/10 can be denied because of the hold up in the first two turns. So it's probably a 7 or 8/10 gain, loss in S1. And Mutant is actually looking quite feisty with HD Storm, as he's actually really close to him. So does he want to overtake him, or does he want to just slipstream for his lap, as he does have fresh medium tires? So I don't really know what his plan is, but it is very interesting indeed, as this is putting a lot of pressure to HD Storm, as he made a mistake and ran wide. I think that invalidated his lap, and Mutant is backing off to get some clean air. Yes. And let's see the lap time from HD Storm last time. So he lost 3 full seconds on his previous lap time to his soft run, which is quite a lot. I actually wasn't expecting that. Maybe HD Storm wasn't pushing as much as with his soft run, but we do see a lot of people doing a lot of laps, except for HD Storm, only 8 laps, and then you see Ernest like 16 laps already. But that just means that HD Storm does not need practice, and you can see that by his lap time. It's 8/10 faster than Lucas in P2, so quite impressive indeed. But we are going to have to wait and see in the race. HD Storm is in the Williams, so he will have to start at the back of the grid, which is not where you want to be when you're the fastest guy on the field. But he will have to manage and not collide with any of these drivers. And we do, like we as saw before, safety car is turned off. So if any one of these drivers make a mistake, it's probably race over for them. So let's see Mutant Unlimited going on to the final two corners. Turn 14 takes it pretty nicely, going on to the final corner right now. Pretty cautious and a little bit too deep, I think. But let's see how much improved that was. 0.672 seconds, so that puts him in P9, only improving one position. But still not bad, as that was a lap time on mediums. The softs should be faster by around a second, so that so he can probably set a lap time for, I think, P6 maybe, or P7. Because the grid, like I said before, from P2 to P7 is very, very close. And this is going to be a very interesting battle to see for the podium. If HD Storm can just clear away from everyone, he's probably going to win. But like I said, safety car is turned off. If you make a mistake, you are dead. Let's see. I think Good Roman is on a flying lap, but he actually invalidated. Mars is on a flying lap, but he is going very slowly. Ooh, interesting. Maybe he's not getting in the grips of the car. Maybe his setup is quite oversteery, so he needs to be cautious at every single part of the track to not spin like he did before in the previous corner. And he is 4.6 seconds slower than the pole guy, and we can see that he is going very, very slowly. Maybe he's just doing that because he wants to go into the pit lane. As we saw, he was 4 seconds slower than his best lap time. So he probably is just cruising to the pit lane, but I don't know. Let's go on board with Good Roman, who is probably going to set another lap time as he just starts his second lap time on the softs. He is using a lot of his ERS, so this is definitely gonna be a push lap. Like I said, he is a fellow Croat, just like me, so I want to see him do well. So let's see if he can do it. Already 1 second improvement, going on a little bit cautiously into turn 6. But still not bad. He doesn't have a lot of ERS to use. Also, if you are below, I think around 20%, you are going to regenerate a lot less of ERS, so you really need to be careful to not be below 20 or 15% ERS, because you're not gonna be able to regain any of it. Or maybe if you know how to gain it, then maybe you can do something. 1.7 seconds improvement. If this keeps up, he will be P9 in front of Mutant in the Aston Martin, so let's see. Takes it a little bit cautiously every corner, going to second gear, nearly pushing on the inside curb. I think that curb is actually a auto spin curb, so you really need to be careful where you step on it. We do have a yellow flag. Roman's teammate is going very slowly, probably letting faster cars through. And Roman is finishing out his fast lap, and a 131.3, not bad actually. 3/10 off of P2. So that is actually really, really close. So he really has a good chance for points in today's race if he does not make any mistakes. I think that all of these people do have a chance for points if they do not make any mistakes. But that is the problem. People make mistakes. We are not robots. We are not designed to be perfect. Going on board with Patrick again in the Red Bull. Patrick Sogard. 2/10 improvement, finishing sector 2, going to sector 3 right now. The driver behind him is Ernest, I think. He will not be close to him to be compromising his lap, so that is good, or to put pressure on him. While we were on board with Patrick, CRX Gods, I'm not gonna call him Gods. I think that's how you pronounce that. He set a lap time of 1:30.3. The only one driver that is in the 1:30s, which is very interesting. But that is going to break, as Patrick is the third one to be in the 1:30s. 1:30.829. Still 5 tenths slower than the guys in front of him, Gods and Storm, but still not that bad. We do still have 14 minutes remaining of the session, so this is probably gonna be the only time for people to do their laps. Because of track evolution, these final 14 minutes are gonna be the best to set a fastest lap on softs, because the track has ramped up a bit and there is more grip on the tarmac. So you have a little bit more speed and downforce in the corners because the car is sticking more because of the track evolution. HD Storm has invalidated his lap, as well as Gods going into the pit lane. Let's see if we have any incidents which we haven't addressed before. And none that I can see. We just have many more of invalids, which is not what we want to see. And we have a lap in the 129s, 129.3 from Eduardo Rice. Very nice indeed. Rice and nice actually rhymes. Oh, that's a triple rhyme. That was not intended. I am very sorry for that. But yeah, 129.3. That is very impressive. That is 1 second faster than HD Storm in the Williams. So he's in a Mercedes, so he's gonna start P1 definitely, because it's set on realistic. So he's probably just gonna cruise away from everyone and do his one-stop strategy, or maybe a two-stop strategy if he wants to steal the fastest lap of the session. But besides that, he will just be able to cruise away from everyone and win this race easily, if he does not make any mistakes, of course. If you do not know how points are given, if you are new to Formula 1, points in the race are given by the top 10 positions. So the top 10 gets 1 point, P9 gets 2, P8 gets 4, P7 gets 6, P6 gets 8, P5 gets 10, P4 gets 12, P3 gets 15, P2 gets 18, and P1 gets 25. And you can also get a fastest lap point. So if you set a fastest lap in the race, you can get 1 point, but only if you're in the top 10. So if you finish top 10 or higher, that fastest lap is going to count, and you get 1 extra point to your championship tally. Let me see. Everything is good. Everything is working well. The connection is well as well. So 11 minutes remaining in the session. On board with Nem, Roman's teammate, who is almost 2 seconds faster than him, a second and 8 tenths. He will want to improve. Let's see how much. 1.2 seconds in Sector 2. Purple Sector 2 as well, which is probably not correct. That is probably just saying that that is their best Sector 2 that they have set in the entire session. Going very wide in that corner. I think that's turn 11 or 12. We see a spin of Mars again. Oh, and he rejoins very badly for the second time. If Gosling was not on, he would already be dead twice. Nem rounding out to the finish line on the start finish straight right now. 131.0. 3 thousandths of a second slower than McGinty, and 1 tenth faster than Alexander in the Mercedes right behind him, and also 3 tenths faster than his teammate. Quite impressive indeed. So now people are very close. The only people that I think haven't set their full potential are Mutant, Diegos, and Mars, which you can clearly see. Either they don't have the pace or they're just way too cautious and they don't really want to push in this practice session, as they don't need to. Mutant invalidates his lap, so that is quite unfortunate indeed. Or maybe they are pushing, but they invalidated a lot of their laps, as we can see right here. 24 laps done by Mutant, but half of them were invalidated, as well as Diego's, and Mars is almost the same. But Mars is seriously slow, or maybe he's just pretending to be slow, because this is not the pace that you want to have. So we see the pace here is like a 134.8 is the fastest lap time on hards, and then Eduardo put the fastest lap time on hards 132.4, so that is 2.4 seconds slower than the leader in this practice session, which you really do not want to see. That is a bit too slow, in my opinion. He will need to be lucky if he wants to get points in today's race, which of course are not gonna count, because this is only a preseason race. Next time, also on Thursday, we are going to have the first race of the season. This is the only PC tier, and I'm gonna be your commentator, and Mars actually crashes. Somehow. What are you doing? Are the admins watching this? Is this allowed? I just want clarification if this is what you if this is allowed. He probably is sandbagging, but this is just ridiculous from me. He spins 2 times, rejoins very dangerously, and nearly crashes into the pit lane. That pace is not really not really what you want to see from a league driver. But maybe he is sandbagging. Maybe he wants maybe he wants to make this practice session interesting, because not a lot of things have happened. So maybe he's just trying to have a little bit of fun. Maybe he's bored as well. Eduardo on another flying lap. Actually, everyone is almost doing another lap, except for McGinty, Diegos, and Mars, that are the only guys in the pit lane. Eduardo is actually getting very nice slipstream from his teammates, so this is going to be a much bigger improvement as well. We already saw 0.003 tenths of a second faster than his previous lap time. He also gained that beautiful slipstream from his teammate. That's how you give a slipstream. He could have given it for the entire straight, because you can go after the right-hander, and then before the hairpin he could have moved, so he would be a little bit more faster and maybe improved by a little bit more. He actually takes a really wide line on the final corner, which is very interesting. I haven't seen a lot of people doing that. And he improves by 16 thousandths of a second, 129.333. Thankfully it's not 666, but that is still a second faster than HD Storm, just in second place. So he is going to be probably cruising away. That reminds me of one guy in another league. I'm not gonna say anything, but the season hasn't started, but he's like 2 seconds faster than anyone, and he's probably just gonna dominate. He was also racing the esports guys. I'm not gonna say anything more, but he was racing Jarno Opmir, and I know him. Now Alexander actually got slipstream from his teammate as well, so this is very good teammate action from the Mercedes boys. Let's see how much Alexander can improve and get closer to his teammate. A 17th improvement. So that should put him in P3 at the moment, if he does not improve even more in Sector 3, which he takes a really safe but fast line in turn 11. And let's see. Coming out to the final few corners right now, turn 14. Takes it very beautifully. Could have gotten a little bit more deep and takes the final corner just like his teammate, but takes all of the outside track as well. And using all of his ERS and a 129.2! That is actually the fastest lap time of the session. The Mercedes boys are on it today. Or maybe they are the only ones pushing in this practice session, because that also might be the case, because I don't think that these guys are that much slower than the two Mercedes boys. But if this is going to continue in the race, we might see Mercedes dominance again. Give me a second to check something. And everything is well and done. Please tell me if when you encounter some issues with the stream, or if I need to up the volume from myself or the game, please let me know and I will be on it immediately. Or if I cannot change it now, I will probably change it before next Thursday. But there is still time for that. Like, that's 1 week after this. Like, we have time. Let's see, Patrick, I was going to be on board with him, but looks like he is going into the pit lane, so he's not doing another lap. McGinty is on hards, the only one on hards at this moment. And let's go actually on board with HD Storm. So, if he wants to be competitive in today's race, I mean, he can get a podium if he manages to be faster than Gods. But if he wants to get more than P3, he needs to improve by 1 second. We already see a 2/10 improvement in Sector 1. That is a really good sign. 3 minutes remaining already. Jesus Christ, those 60 minutes actually passed very, very quickly. But anyways, HD Storm going out to the chicane, cutting the whole track, not invalidating. Oh, I shouldn't have said anything. That's a shame. He improved by 1/10. I jinxed him. I should have been quiet. Well, I am a jinx in other leagues as well, so that's not really unusual for me. But maybe, I mean, he does have enough time to do another lap. Maybe he will do, but maybe no. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. But as things stand, the Mercedes boys are looking very strong for the race. They are 1 second ahead of everyone, and they will start P1 and P2 respectively. So they can just pull away very easily from everyone. So they are really having an easy job. Let's see, HD Storm is in the pit lane. There is not enough time to put him out on track, so that is very unfortunate. He will not be able to do anything. Gods is on a flying lap. Let's see what he can do. Like HD Storm, he needs to improve by 1 second if he wants to be competitive for the win. He runs very wide. That is probably going to compromise his line into the main straight. He improves by 1/10, but looks like he is getting a little bit of slipstream from the guy ahead. Not a lot, because he is not that close, but still enough. And we can see, I think a little bit of dirty air is affecting him, as he is catching very closely. Thankfully Eduardo has let him past. He is also on the outlap, but I don't think he will be... I don't think he will make his way into to the finish line in time, as Ernest has stopped on track to wait for everyone. Let's go with Gods, 1/10 improvement still, and taking a really wide line in the penultimate corner. That's not what you want to see, and also takes the final lap, the final corner very badly, and gets very bad traction, and has not improved which is a shame. Let's see some other guys. Sabitas has invalidated. Good Roman has invalidated as well. I cannot see how much time is remaining in the session because we do have a yellow sector 1. I do not know why. Mars actually retired, so that is actually the reason why. Practice session is over, so the guys who are on their fast lap need to finish it right now, and they will not be able to do any more. And then we are going to head on to the race. Let's keep on board with Eduardo. Gods has let him through, which is very nice indeed. Alexander is also behind. I actually haven't seen the lap improvement. I am very sorry about that. But let's go just on board to the whole lap. Taking these corners very nicely. Going out to turn 12. Going really wide, nearly out of the track and invalidating, but thankfully all is well. Going out to turn 14, taking it very nice, and gets a really good line to turn 15, and gets a pretty okay exit, I might add. And he doesn't actually have any ERS to use, and he will improve by 3/10, a 129.0. Let's see if Alexander can snatch that time from his teammate, and he doesn't. 129.166 or 165, 1/10 slower than his teammate. Very impressive from the Mercedes boys. Like, that is unbelievable that they are 1 second and more than 1 second, like 1 second and 2/10 faster than everyone else, or than P3. So they are going to have a very easy race indeed. So that is practice session over. We are waiting for Gods and Diegos to be put into their respective boxes, and we should be going underway to the race. Like I said, the race is a 50% race. Like always, all leagues do that probably. I actually do not know if all of them do, but that is the regular thing for the race. And there we go. Practice session is over. 60 minutes of me talking. It gets quite tiring, but at least it's good for my stuttering. So, Eduardo and Alexander, both from Brazil, take P1 and P2 in today's practice session. 1 second faster than Storm in 3rd place in the Williams, just behind them. Then we have Gods. I actually do not know what that flag is. I think that's a Polish flag, but I'm not really sure. Then we have Patrick in the Red Bull, Ernest in the Alpine, Mutant in the Aston Martin, McGinty in the McLaren, Nem in the Alfa Romeo, Driades in the Williams, Sabatas in the AlphaTauri, Good Roman in the Alfa Romeo, and I haven't seen all of them. That's actually why I was hurrying up, because I wanted to see all of the names. I think it was Mars and Diegos on the final 2 spots of the grid, but I do not remember. And finally, we are going on to the race. So 50% race. It is 27 laps. So that's probably another 40 odd something minutes, nearly as much as the practice session. And we are waiting for Patrick. Looks like we have some connection issues. We might see a lobby restart, which I hope isn't going to be the case. I really do hope so. Oh, I think all is good. Yeah, all is good. Oh, Mutant has left the session. Maybe all is not good. Hello? Maybe Mutant is gonna rejoin to the lobby. Ernest has left the session. Okay, I think we are actually restarting the lobby, because a lot of people are leaving. Or actually not. Maybe? Okay, this is actually very weird. Let me just clarify that we are having a lobby restart. I mean, I am not seeing anything else. I mean, I am not seeing any signs of a restart, so probably all of these guys are just gonna rejoin back. Diego's also left the session. Okay. Like, in Discord, I'm not seeing any signs of a lobby restart, so I'm not really sure why a lot of people are leaving the session. This is very weird indeed. I guess we'll have to wait and see if there is gonna be no race today. But looks like everything is, I mean, going underway. We do have 5 red lights, but I do not have control. And we are underway for the French Grand Prix for the pre-season, and Diego's actually gets a really good line. He will stay P1, Eduardo stays P2, and Alexander follows him right behind. But Patrick is actually going on the inside of Alexander and takes P3 from Alexander. Really good for the Red Bull driver. Diego's is actually distinct from the session, so he is dropping a lot of positions down, which is very unfortunate indeed. Patrick is going to have a really good slipstream from the guy in front, Eduardo, so maybe he does have a chance if he uses some of his ERS. Let me just give me a second to put all of these track maps and whatnots. The tires. We do actually have a lot of people going on mediums. Nem is the only guy on softs, and Eduardo and Alexander, both Mercedes, are on hards. So we are seeing a lot of different strategies going on. Looks like Eduardo is already gaining a lot of time on Patrick, even though he is on hard tires and Patrick is on mediums. Patrick is using all of his ERS as well as Eduardo. They both have 50 odd something percent. They are gaining a lot of it in turn 11. Patrick probably corner cut that corner. He will have one warning already. We do have some fights behind Driades and Diego's. Or actually Diego's is desync, so that is nothing. But we do have a 3-way battle with Nem and Sabotage behind in the AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo. They nearly touched into the final corner. Alexander is actually losing a lot of time. He is P4, McGinty has overtaken him. So those hard tires are probably not good for him. And McGinty actually passed Patrick as well. Very good race for McGinty, but he nearly spins in the second turn. And Patrick is going on the inside of McGinty, and he wants to go for the move, and they touch! Patrick spins. That is not good, and McGinty also nearly spins. Like I said before, there is no safety car, so if you make a mistake, you are going to die, because you are not going to be able to regain those places. Sabotage trying to go around the inside of Alexander, losing a little bit of time because he is not using all of his ERS anymore. HD Storm is also catching them right behind. Looks like he had a pretty good start, starting from last to 5th right now. But these 4 are battling, and we do have the Alfa Romeos also catching up to them, so we might see like a 6-way fight or maybe a 7-way fight for P3 or P2 in today's race, as HD Storm actually goes around the inside of Sabotage. But Sabotage defends that very well. HD Storm trying to go for another dive, but Sabotage gets a really good exit off of turn 13. I mean 12, and manages to stay P4 at the moment, at least. Let's hope that this doesn't distract Driades, because Driades is losing a lot of time with this battle with HD Storm and Sabotage. Eduardo is just cruising, already 5 seconds ahead of Lucas McGinty. So that is very, very unfortunate. Nem in the Alfa Romeo has spun, as well as Lucas McGinty. And the Alfa Romeo of Roman has nearly spun as well, but he managed to catch that slide. So we already have a lot of spins. McGinty, Nem, and one guy is Patrick, yeah. So, not really well. Roman gets a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. And we might see actually some overtakes happening right here. We have the DRS. Sabotage has the DRS on Alexander. He wants to go around the inside. He has the tire wear advantage, but Alexander is not giving it very easily. Sabotage had to cut that corner as he was left no room, and that actually allows HD Storm to also overtake Alexander and go nearly touch the diffuser of the AlphaTauri driver. Very close indeed. And Mars gets a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. HD Storm wants to go around the inside of Sabotage again, but that move will not be able to stick, just like last time. And looks like Alexander is losing a lot of time on these hards, so these are not very suitable for him. He will probably need to get rid of those very quickly. Hards are, I think, 2 seconds slower than softs, and then mediums are 1 second slower than softs, but I'm not really sure about that. And the strategy should be one stop. If some people want to do a 2-stop, then it's their thing. HD Storm actually gets a pretty good line on Sabotage. Sabotage goes really wide. That is maybe going to be a track extending. Sabotage has 35% TRS. HD Storm has 70, as well as Alexander. Storm's teammate Driadis actually is closing in on Alexander as well, so maybe we will see a double overtake. Storm on Sabotage and Driadis on Alexander, as Alexander nearly loses the car and spins into the wall, as HD Storm has overtaken Sabotage very easily, and Driadis is not leaving a lot of space for Alexander, but he does overtake him for P4, and we do have a touch with Good Roman and Alexander. Ooh, what happened there? That was very interesting indeed, and unexpected as well. It is a big shame that Alexander, who had the pace in practice, is losing so many positions and places because of fighting with these guys. But that is the consequence that you have to deal with when you put hards on. But yeah, well, you cannot do anything there. We do have a battle behind, or actually we don't, because all of these drivers are desynced. But we do have a battle with Storm, Sabotage, and Driadis for P2, 3, and 4. Mars gets a 3-second time penalty again, so that will be 13 seconds, I think. And yeah, this battle for the top 2 is happening right now. Oh, I actually got a message on Discord, but I don't really want to check that, because I don't know if it's from an admin from this league or if it's my friend. I'm gonna actually turn streamer mode on. Give me a second. I'm gonna turn streamer mode. I hope nothing crashes, because I think my Discord already crashed, which is not good. It's lagging a lot. Give me a just please give me a minute, please. Okay, Discord is lagging way too much. I don't think I'll be able to do anything with that. I hope nothing interesting is happening while I'm doing it. Okay, screw it. Okay, screw it. So, Good Roman gets a 3-second penalty. Looks like Alexander actually overtakes Good Roman, but Patrick has spun into the wall. I don't think that rear wing damage is enabled, or sidebot damage is enabled. I'm not really sure, but let's hope not, as that was a pretty hard collision into the wall. His tires are gonna be very hot. He will need to be careful to not spin. Hello, Dizzy. We already have a guy into the pit lane. Good Roman is in. We actually have some people in the pit lane that have served it already. Nem and Good Roman, both of the Alfa Romeos, which is quite unfortunate. They are not having a really good race, as well as Alexander, who loses a lot of positions. But anyways, Dreadis and Sabotage are on it still, so they cannot settle to get that podium place. Driadis will have the ERS, but he has a little bit less ERS than Sabotage, and Sabotage is weaving a little bit on track, but he leaves the inside line open, and Giatis takes it, and Septas actually cuts that corner very, very much, and they collide a little bit. That might be damage, but I don't know how much, at what damage it's set on in the lobby. So I don't know if that contact was damage or not, but looks like Sabotage is losing a little bit of time on Giatis, but that might be of dirty air. Guys behind battling, but they are desynced, they are not in the lobby, so that is quite a shame. Looks like Sabotage is actually getting very good lines on Giatis, and Giatis is not really conserving all of his ERS, so I think that he will be very vulnerable on this next start-finish straight. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Oh, nice! Well, congratulations for getting that Mercedes seat. That's very good indeed. Hello, Liz. How are you? Are you well? Are you enjoying the race so far? Or if you joined at this moment, I hope you enjoy it. As we see Sabotage and Giatis going on it again, Ernest actually has overtaken Diego's, but he is desynced, so that is nothing. But let's see, Sabotage has the DRS and Slipstream on Giatis. He is not using any of his DRS. Giatis leaves the inside line. They are going side by side into the chicane, but Sabotage goes around the outside and takes that position freely from Giatis. He is in the podium position. McGinty gets a 3-second time penalty, and he wants to push because Alexander is catching him by a mile. Like, seriously. He spun, he was like 9 seconds behind, and he's gaining so much time, even on hards. Like, what was that? Like, he's so fast. Even in the practice session, he was like a second and 2/10 faster than Lucas. Like, it's insane. And even Eduardo, who is on hards, already 9 seconds. Like, that's just unbelievable. And we see Alexander actually having a pretty okay line, but McGinty gets a better exit. McGinty defends the inside, but Alexander has the outside line, which is probably the better line, and McGinty just lets him have it. If he manages to stay close to him, he will have the arrest for the next race, but he does lose a little bit control of the car, manages to catch it, thankfully, not like last time where he spun at the same place. We do have a spin. It is good Roman. He is not having a fun race at the moment. Looks like McGinty will have the arrest, but Giatis is going to as well. Sabotage and Giatis are at equally arrest, so a level playing field, I would say, except for the DRS, I think. And they touch once more, and Sabotage actually loses it, and he's into the wall. And looks like damage is actually turned off, because that was actually quite a hard impact. So it's very interesting how that wasn't any damage. Oh my god, I need to clear my throat. I've been screaming all over the place because this is some exciting racing happening right now. And Alexander is already in the DRS range of Giatis, so that fight with Sabotage really cost him a lot of time. And he will probably overtake him on this corner before the chicane. And let's see, Giatis defending the inside line, but also the outside. Alexander doesn't know where to go, so he stays behind at the moment. Lucas McGinty losing a lot of time on these guys in front of him, so maybe this fight with Alexander and Giatis will manage him to get closer to them, and maybe try and make a move on Giatis when he is most vulnerable with his fight with Alexander. Well, I'm very glad that you are enjoying the whole thing. I'm very happy, and rooting for Patrick. He is P11, maybe he will get points in today's race. Only time will tell if he can manage it. But I think he is desynced, so he is not in the lobby. Or he is actually, he is. So he does have, and he gained 1 second in one corner alone, so he definitely can get points. Because Mars ahead of him is desynced, then Mutant is desynced, Ernest is desynced, and Diego's is desynced. Or Diego's isn't desynced, but these two are. So he is in the points definitely, even though they are not going to count. On the board with Alexander again, because these are the only guys battling for a position. Not a lot of things are happening on track. Good Roman gets a 3-second time penalty again. That is probably going to be around 9 seconds. Let's see, actually. While we are waiting for Alexander to overtake Triatus, let's see penalties, a lot of them. And Alexander goes running inside. They are not going to be side by side. Triatus breaks a little bit earlier just to let Alexander through. He knows that this is not his fight, and he should just let Alexander through. Both Alfa Romeos have spun into the chicane. What is happening with these guys? Oh my god. This is not what you want to see. And I'm really sad that Roman is not having a really good race because he's a fellow Croat. We are from the same country, and it's a shame that this race is not going to his plan. And he's corner cutting everywhere. Jesus, you need to be careful, man. Please be careful. I will watch Tier 3 if I will have time, of course. At that time, I actually have my race in one other league. So I might be able to enter in the beginning stages, but the final few laps I won't be able to check out. But maybe. Or actually, I think the end stages, because you said it's UK time. Because my race starts at 7:45 UK time, so I might be able to see the ending of the race, but not too much. And it's on Wednesday, it's on Wednesday as well. McGinty has went into the pit lane. He put softs, so he is doing a 2-stop in today's race, which is probably good. He is not gonna lose a lot of time on sabotage just behind him. So he can do a 2-stop if he wants to. Maybe try and steal the fastest lap from the guys in front of him. But Eduardo already 13 seconds. Like, ooh, he's just pulling away from anyone. Excuse me for a moment. Okay. Like I said, I'm a bit sick, so I need to do like sick things. Yeah. Just let's continue. So Alfa Romeos battling each other all the time. What is this teammate action? These guys cannot settle things right. They are just squabbling all over the place. They have already went into the pit lane, as we saw before. And they are really not having a good day. As Good Roman is having really bad lines. We do have another guy into the pit lane. It is Drietes, which is actually really good. If he can get this undercut on Alexander, he might be able to overtake him after Alexander pits. The only problem is he doing a 1-stop or a 2-stop? We are going to see right now, and it is a 1-stop, so he is going until the end of the race. So he will have the upper pace on Alexander, but the question is he put up with the pressure to do this? Speaking of, Alexander has DRS, and HD Storm actually retires from the session. Oh, he was actually running very well in second place. I really don't know what happened with him, but that is a really big shame. It is great practice, but it is quite unfortunate seeing some people not quite to the pace as everyone else. And they did have a 60-minute practice session as well, so I mean, they had all the time in the world. Even if they didn't practice for this race, they had the 60-minute practice session, so they could have practiced there to not spin. Maybe they're just pushing way too much. I don't know, but it is very weird. The Alfa Romeos again just spinning everywhere. This is just become unbelievable. Like you feel bad for them, and Nem is slowing down so much. What is happening with these guys? Do these guys want to kill each other? Like, what is this? Let's keep on board with them a little bit, as there are no fights happening anywhere around. As McGinty sets the fastest lap time of a 1:32.7, so that is the lap time that our drivers are gonna need to beat, which Eduardo is probably going to do, as he is already in the pit stop range from his teammate. So if he pits, he will probably stay in front of his teammate. And good Roman, what is that? I hope the admins are watching this. At least, oh my god, I hope the admins are watching this. 10-second time penalty for Roman. Like, Roman, like, you can swerve once. That is allowed. You can swerve once. So that is good on Roman. But what was that dive bomb from them? Like, what was that? That is not good sportsmanship. I guess they will speak with the stewards and the admins after today's race if they are watching and writing notes on what is happening in the Alfa Romeo team. But yeah, nothing much is happening like right now at the moment. I guess this is a good time to check penalties. We are gonna keep on board with Nem to see if he makes any stupid moves. But yeah, let's see everything else. So let's first see stops. So both Mercedes and Diegos and Mars still have yet to go into the pit lane. So that is interesting. And what is Nem doing? What is that? I should probably move to another driver because yeah, let's move to another driver because this is just not good to watch. Let's go to our leader. We haven't seen from him in a while. He's just pulling away from everyone. How are you? We are just going to avoid the Alfa Romeo struggles at the back. They probably are just playing around because damage is off, and they do not like have any consequences when they touch each other. But this is still not good. If you want to race in a league, you need to race cleanly, and that's not very clean, if I say so myself. So like I said, only both Mercedes have to stop in today's race. Most positions gained was from Triades, and Good Roman was disqualified from the session for multiple warnings. 39 seconds. 39 seconds. Let's where were we? So Triades has improved most positions in today's race so far. HT Storm was actually leading that, as he was very high. He was running in P2 when he crashed, which is a big shame. But yeah, and the most positions lost is from Diego's. Very unfortunate that he is desynced, or maybe he isn't. Oh, yes he is. That is a big shame. Then McGinty and Sabatas are actually doing a 2-stop, so we will need to see them go into pit lane once again. Eduardo and Alexander are maybe going to go on softs. They can probably extend these tires. a little bit more, probably around lap 20, and Nem has retired from the session as well. So yeah, like I was saying, the Mercedes drivers can probably extend these hards on lap 20 and then go on softs until the end of the race. The race strategy in-game predicted a medium hard. You can do that, that is a safe strategy, but softs will be faster. And they can probably steal another... they can steal the fastest lap and get another point. Let's go to the penalties. Both Mercedes are clear. They are just pulling away from everyone and doing it cleanly as well. Lucas McGinty and Trietis and Patrick share 3 seconds between each other. I mean, they don't share, they have 3 seconds between each other. Which is a shame. Sabotage has retired from the session. That is already our 5th retirement, and it's only halfway of the race. And then Mars has 13 seconds, which is actually very interesting because I thought he was desynced, and he is. If he's desynced, how is he getting penalties? Like this race is unbelievable. Yes, it does look bad. That's why I wanted to move as soon as possible away from the Alfa Romeos. But this is the only proof that there needs to be something done with those two drivers. So I had to be a little bit more on board with them to get a little bit more proof for the admins and the stewards, to get a little bit more clarification. Let's see. Okay. Everything is running smoothly, still, somehow. And nothing is really happening. Like, we have these ghost drivers running into each other. I mean, desynced drivers. So, like, this is happening. Like, we can see some action, like, oh my god, he's going inside him, not on the inside line, and oh my god, is he gonna overtake him? But yeah, that would be stupid because it's not happening at all. So, like, yeah. Yes, that is all we can hope, that in the real race it's gonna be better. But probably not. That's why I recorded that, or I mean streamed that, so maybe the admins are gonna do something with those two drivers. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe something will be done, maybe something will not be done. I guess only time will tell. But yeah, as the things stand, we are on lap 18 out of 27, we have 9 laps remaining. Let's actually see some of the lap times and how consistent these drivers are. So, Eduardo, even though his hard tires are 17 laps old, he is putting consistent 134.0s and 133.5s. Like, that is just unbelievable, that is on another level. Let's see his teammate. He is doing quite the same, losing a little bit of pace in Sector 2, but that is the only place, I think, if I'm seeing that correctly. And they still need to pit, so I'm actually excited to see what the fastest lap time will be after these two pit. So that would be interesting indeed. And we actually see some overtaking between our ghost cars because Mutant has overtaken Diego's, or Diego's is actually overtaking Mutant, and Ernest actually has a really bad line, so maybe Diego's can make a double overtake. But looks like he's just being cautious, but this might be interesting. Oh my god, this is actually very close. This is a fight for points, even though they're not in the lobby. And this is a 3-way fight, like, seriously 3-way fight. They are in one another. This is gonna be interesting. And looks like the Echoes has the best straight line speed out of anyone, and Ernest is really slowing down. But in the corners he is gaining a lot. But yeah. Besides that, Lucas McGinty is already going into the pit lane already. That is actually quite early. So softs only run until lap 7 or 8. Which, not what I expected. But it is good that he does this undercut now, because he can get closer to Giatis. He will have more time to do it. But I wanted to say Patrick is going to be a problem for McGinty, but looks like something happened, and he will not be ahead of him. And he does get a 3-second time penalty as well. So Lucas McGinty has to gain 11 seconds on Giatis if he wants to get the podium in today's race, and then another 3 seconds. I think it's 3 seconds. Yes, it is. Or actually, both the drivers have penalties, so he can just, oh my god. So McGinty can just overtake him and he gets a podium. So what we've learned from today's race, Eduardo is Lewis Hamilton confirmed. He's even in a Mercedes, and he's driving a #1 car because the top of the car is black. If the top of the car is black, then that's the first driver's car. If it's yellow, like in Alexander, you can see yellow on top. If it's yellow, it's the second driver car. So Eduardo is Hamilton confirmed. With 19 lap old hards, he puts up fastest lap time. That's just unbelievable. And Lucas on fresh softs, which should be like 2 seconds faster than hards, didn't even challenge for that. Or maybe he's gonna do it now. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But he is improving, or maybe not. Let's see. He's actually not improving by a lot. He is 17 seconds behind Giatis. I was actually mistaken before. I am very sorry. But he is gaining a lot. Purple sector 3 as well, but no fastest lap time. Let's actually see. Oh, Lucas McGinty spins. Interesting. That is his 4th spin of the entire stream. I think 4th, maybe 3rd or 2nd, I don't know. Patrick is also into the pit lane, puts new softs, so he also wants to push, but he can just stay here and just conserve until the end of the race, as he has no one behind him, no one ahead of him to battle with. So P5 is for Patrick. That is going to be 10 points to his tally. But of course, because this is the preseason race, points will not be counting only after the first race, which I think is Austria. I actually have to check what is the first race of the season. But anyways, yes, so Patrick will get 10 points, and Lucas McGinty has not made his job easier with that spin. Hello Sabatas, or Sabitbass. I'm very sorry for pronouncing your name wrong. I am very sorry. Welcome to the stream. We are currently on board with some of these guys. We should actually be on board with Alexander, who actually pits for mediums just 1 lap before. Maybe he will be setting on a fast lap time. He has improved by 3/10 already. He is not using his ERS, so maybe he's just cruising because he knows that he cannot overtake his teammate, as his teammate is like a pit stop ahead of him, like 30 seconds I think. So that is not gonna be possible, and Eduardo is still not going into the pit lane. Is Eduardo doing... Is Eduardo going to pit on lap 25 because he doesn't have anything to lose? Like, that's just unbelievable. But yeah, on board with Alexander, going to turn 11 right now. Let's see if he can snatch the fastest lap from his teammate. I should actually probably switch to this. Or maybe the leader. No, I'm gonna do this. So yeah. Going on to turn 13, going as wide as possible like we said before in the practice session. Turn 14 takes it very well, going for a very wide line and taking all of the track on the outside line, and now using all of the ERS. Let's see if he can snatch the fastest lap, and he does, 132.001. So Eduardo probably when he goes into the pit lane, that's probably gonna be easy to beat. But my only question is, why did Alexander stop for mediums? Did he not have any fresh soft tires to put on? Because softs could definitely run until the end of the race. Like seven laps are guaranteed. If you can conserve them a little bit, you can do like 8 or 9 laps, or maybe 10 laps even. So putting mediums, I don't think is a really good strategy, but thankfully he is fighting no one. He will probably stay in P2, and Eduardo actually got a penalty. I completely missed that. But yeah, I would have put softs, put even faster lap time, and just tried to cruise until the end of the race. But we have the Battle of the Ghosts again. I think that's the title. Yes, the Battle of the Ghosts. Between our three drivers, Mutant, Diegos, and Ernest. Ernest, again, the slowest of the three. And because no battles are happening around, this is like the best we can get. And looks like Mutant got a really bad line actually. Oh, Ernest maybe has an opportunity to overtake Diegos, but he doesn't take it. Oh, Mutant is really slow in turn 14, and Diegos will maybe overtake him in this final corner. They are in each other, which is not what you want to see. Diegos will have the arrest. This is gonna be an easy overtake for Diegos. And it is. There we go. The Battle of the Ghost continues. Oh, and Ernest actually nearly overtakes Mutant as well. Why is this like this? I am very sorry if there is nothing interesting to watch and to commentate on, because this is very unfortunate. We had a really good conspiracy, let's say, with the Alfa Romeo drivers, but yeah. Eduardo has actually overtaken Patrick and has lapped him, or I probably missed that by a long shot. But Eduardo still has not went into the pit lane, so that is very interesting indeed. 23 lap holds hard. Maybe he can put another fast lap on those. He needs to improve like 6 or 3/10, I think, from his teammates. Let's check really quick. 6/10. Or actually Patrick set a fast lap time. I completely missed that. A 1:31.799. So he needs to gain 1 second. And Patrick is right behind him. Maybe we're gonna see a battle between these two. So Patrick will want to unlap himself from the leader and pull away. But he's doing a really bad job at it, and somehow Eduardo, I really don't know how. He's still so fast, even with those old hards. It's unbelievable. Alexander gets a 3-second time penalty, so almost everyone gets a penalty except for our ghost drivers, of course. And yeah, after Edward, I'm very sorry. After Eduardo gets into the pit lane, Patrick is going to get himself unlapped. Very easy and no big deal. And there we go! Eduardo finally goes into the pit lane on lap 24. And let's see what RC will put on. It will probably be softs. Like, definitely softs. Yeah, there we go. And let's see what lap he is going to be able to do. I am predicting a, let's see, 1:30.8. Let's see if he is able to do it. So he is going to be our last stopper in today's race, and we are on lap 25 at the moment. No battles happening except for our ghost cars, but that is not really that interesting to watch because that's inconsistent, because yeah, they are ghosts. And Mars is actually catching them by a little bit, but he is also a ghost. So we only have like 5 people who are remaining in the lobby, which is quite sad actually, because we were in for a really good race with 14 people. But yeah, what can you do? You cannot do anything. But yeah, as things stand, Eduardo will probably get the win. Alexander will follow him right behind in second place, so that's full points for the Mercedes, except for the fastest lap, which Eduardo will probably get. Like I said, 130.8. Quote that, 130.8. And Drietes will be the guy on the final on the final podium place. And we are probably just going to be on board with Eduardo for these final 3 laps, because there is nothing happening on track. So let's just check all of the stats before we end the race soon. So penalties, Eduardo has 3 seconds, his teammate Alexander also 3 seconds, Triadis and Williams has 3 seconds as well, McGinty in the McLaren as well, and Patrick 9 seconds, Mars 13 seconds. It is interesting how Mars got 13 seconds even though he's a ghost, but I'm not gonna question anything. So the only 2 stoppers are McGinty and Patrick. If McGinty wouldn't have spun in the first laps of his tires, I think he would probably be a bit closer to Triates, but there would be no way that he would overtake him for the podium. Triates is actually the guy with the most positions gained in today's race. He gains 8 positions, and Mars follows him right behind. And both Mercedes gain only 1 position. The least positions gained is by Diegos, who is a ghost, so that is quite unfortunate. Eduardo improves by 2 seconds in Sector 2 and Sector 1 combined. Let's see what he is able to do in the final sector, maybe like another 5 or 6 tenths improvement. He does nearly lose control of his car, thankfully he manages to catch it. And going on to turn 13 right now, hugging the whole outside of the track to get a better line into turn 14. And he does, and goes very wide again to get a good exit, and hugs the whole track on turn 15 to go on to the start-finish straight. And a 129.730. So that was actually a second faster than I actually predicted. So let's say I was close. Only 1 second the difference, and then you see like the second fastest lap was by Patrick, and it was 2 seconds slower. Like, that's insane. That's really insane. And yeah, I think I've said anything that there is to say. We are on board with Eduardo for the final lap of the race. And let me actually switch this to tires. And before we end the race, let's quickly check the race director and the incident reports, if there are gonna be any reports for the preseason race, so they have the incidents, and so they can remove the penalties if they need to. But yeah, on board with Eduardo for the final few corners, going on to turn 12, 13, 14 and 15, the last 4 corners of the race of the French Grand Prix of the pre-season race in Nitrous Racing League. And we see him going to turn 14, going very cautiously, not like before on last lap, and going on to the final corner to get on the start-finish straight and to finish in first place, and that is a win for Mercedes, 26 points. And they will probably get maximum points as well, because Alexander is following him right behind in second place. And he is on the final corner right now, and that is going to be a second position for him. So very, very good race for the Mercedes boys, but what we learned from today's practice session and the race is that they are way too fast. There's something that needs to be done with these. But yeah, Eduardo and Alexander get a 1-2 for Mercedes, so really, really good for them. And maximum points, like I said. Triates in the Williams is following them, and he is going to get the final podium place. He is a Bosnian driver from my neighboring country, because I'm from Croatia. And he improves from his previous fastest lap, but only by 5 tenths, and a 133.8. And let's see who will be winning our ghost battle, and looks like it's gonna be the Ecos Mutant and then Ernest. So Diego's will get 8 points, Mutant 6, and Ernest 4, and McGinty goes P4 as well. And we are only waiting for Mars to get onto the finish line. Or actually, it's Patrick. It's Patrick, okay. And there we go! That is it. That is the French Grand Prix, and the driver of the day is Rietes. That is, of course, gonna be the case, because he gained the most positions in the race. And here we see Eduardo very happy to get that win, and I'm getting a lot of Discord notifications. I'm very sorry if you hear those. And he is very happy lifting that trophy, and both Brazilians on the podium and their teammates as well. So that is very nice to see. But yeah, that was the French Grand Prix. I need to see what these messages are, because they're probably from the admin. So give me a second, and then we will check all of the, or actually let's check all of the settings because we have 25 seconds. Jesus Christ, 25 seconds. So Eduardo wins today's race, Alexander is second, Dritis is third, McGinty is fourth, Patrick is fifth, Diego is sixth, Mutant is seventh, Ernest is eighth, Mars is ninth, Sabotage is 10th, Nem is 11th, Roman is 12th, HD Storm is 13th, and Goats is 14th. There are 5 DNFs, and the fast lap go to Eduardo. Only 3 or 5 people haven't got a penalty, and that's it. Okay, I cannot see anything else. Okay, at least I managed to do everything here. And no one is in the lobby. Look at that, like that's unbelievable. Let me just see the messages. Give me a second. Give me a minute, please. Please. That should be it. Okay, so we are not doing a raid today, as I'm seeing it. And I don't even know how to do raid, so so that's good for me. I don't have to do anything. So yeah, that was the French Grand Prix. I hope that you have enjoyed today's stream and the race, even though it was a bit sluggish. I think that's the word that I would use. I don't know. We saw Mercedes dominance, which I guess we need to expect in the season. And we saw that the Alfa Romeo drivers are gonna need to sort things out, because you do not want to see drivers colliding with each other when there's no damage. But yeah, that will be settled in between this race and race 1, which, let me check, I think it's Austria. I don't know, give me 2 more seconds and that's it. I already asked too much. Okay, we're going to Saudi Arabia. So expect even more carnage than today. Expect even more. So yeah, I would like to thank our sponsor, Interrodata. I don't know what they do, but thank you for sponsoring us. Probably their link is down below somewhere. Like, I haven't used Twitch, so I don't really know how it works. But yeah, it should be down there somewhere. And if you want to race in our league, which by this race you probably do not want to, there is a link in the description as well, and you can donate as well in the description. And I think I've said everything. So yeah. That is going to be it for today's stream. I hope that you have enjoyed, and I will see you next Thursday for Saudi Arabia for race 1 of the PC tier. Have a nice day or night, and stay safe out there, please. Please, stay safe.